Welcome to the Dignity Leadership Learning Lab. I'm Leadership Leah, the Chief Education Officer, and this is my esteemed and very excited colleague, Leadership Leo, the Chief Instructional Officer. We are on a mission to take you from being a management monster to a leadership ace. If Rich can do it, so can you. Ready to launch in 3, 2, 1. A rocket will not reach its destination without enough fuel. The same thing happens when we try to lead. If we don't have enough interpersonal skills, our efforts won't be successful and we won't reach our maximum potential. Interpersonal skills, also known as soft skills, are the set of non-technical skills we use to interact and communicate with others. They also make it possible for us to form more significant and long-lasting connections at home and at work, as well as other places. One of the best ways to learn any skill, including interpersonal skills, is to learn by doing and actively practicing them on a daily basis. In this module, there are 8 important interpersonal skills that any manager should develop to become a better leader in the workplace. They are communication, teamwork, team building, flexibility, mentoring or coaching others, simplicity, conflict resolution skills, and leading by example. Leadership Leo is here to explain more about the 8 skills in this module. Take it away, Leo.
Communication. The ability to communicate is an important skill that can make all the difference between success and failure. Communication is much more than just talking to someone. Those that are really great at communicating are self-aware of their actions and are also good listeners. While at work, we may use various nonverbal cues to communicate with others. Do you know the things that you say without saying anything at all? Nonverbal communication includes facial expressions, gestures, and body language. So it's important that we utilize these forms of communications effectively. What kinds of nonverbal cues do you use to communicate with others during the course of your workday? Listening is part of the communication process. If no one is listening to you, are you really communicating? Active listening is a skill used to understand others and to show others that you are interested in what they have to say. Here is a simple example of why active listening is important. Right now, you are on the internet watching this training module. For this to happen, both your computer and the host computer where this course resides must talk back and forth via the internet. If that connection breaks right now between our computers, you will not be able to complete this module. Likely, you will also become frustrated or irritated that one of the computers is not communicating with the other one. That is active listening. If one of your followers speaks to you and they believe you are not actively listening, they leave the conversation feeling disrespected. Active listening involves the ability to listen carefully to what someone has to say and really take in that information. Here are 5 steps to becoming a better listener. First, stop talking. You cannot listen if you are talking. Second, engage and focus both mentally and physically. Be self aware. Third, ensure you understand what the individual has stated by repeating the question back to them in a summary format. Fourth, do not talk after repeating the question. Allow the other person to clarify or respond to you. Last, reflect before you respond and do not react. Businesses that fail to communicate with their employees may find themselves at a major and costly disadvantage in the marketplace. According to statistics from Society for Human Resource Management, SHRM, inadequate communication resulted in an average yearly loss of $62.4 million per organization with 100,000 employees among the 400 businesses that were studied. To learn more about active listening, check out the Dignity Leadership Live podcast by visiting www.dignity-leadership.com/podcast or search Dignity Leadership Live on your favorite streaming platform. Look for the episode titled How to Become a Better Listener: 5 Habits Every Leader Must Have. Teamwork. It is critical to foster a collaborative environment where we can help each other and cover each other's backs. All of us on the team must invest our time and effort if the team is going to be successful. Everyone on the team should agree on a common idea, or why, for all their work, and then figure out how to work together, the what, to achieve that goal. The senior-most person should begin by explaining the why so everyone is clear about what they're doing. Then everyone can focus on implementing the strategy or how they will work together. While we've all heard senior executives say, teamwork makes the dream work, it's insufficient in guiding the direction of efforts that improve teamwork. Before any progress can be made to enhance collaboration, it's vital to define what improvement looks like in terms of behavior to increase the effectiveness. Decreasing physical effort and more recognition of the end goal are needed to develop a high performing team. The basic art of developing teamwork is insufficient for the objective of improving teamwork. Team building. Your team's goal is likely to do something your team has never done before, and conveying this goal clearly and frequently is vital to project success. Goals are best achieved when you focus on genuine advantages of collaboration. It is disheartening to lead by constantly correcting everyone's flaws. Make a list of your own and your company's shortcomings. Then hire people with skills you lack. Make use of your own skills to assist the team in its advancement. It is much better to focus on improving strengths than it is to fix weaknesses. Those who concentrate on their strengths rather than their flaws are more likely to be successful in their endeavors. Unfortunately, many people tend to pay attention to other people's weaknesses rather than focusing on their talents. As a result, this may cause sensations of anxiety or melancholy. Our educational institutions highlight students' weaknesses as well. Do you know how it feels to get a bad grade as a student? This is an inadvertent way to signal that talents are unimportant and that weaknesses are more significant. The same is true for adults as employees. No one wants to be told how many weaknesses they have. Some bosses are like small number of parents who try to overcorrect the issue by focusing on everything. This doesn't emphasize talents or strengths. Rather, they both suppress and subconsciously state that everything is equal. And we all know not everything is equal. We don't have time to cover everything about leading with strengths, so why don't you go check out the episodes on our podcast about teamwork and leading with strengths at www.dignity-leadership.com/podcast or search Dignity Leadership Live on your favorite streaming platform. Flexibility. The most valuable lessons are frequently learned while failing. Solving other people's problems can strangle critical thinking, eliminate ownership, undermine trust, show a lack of discipline, and prevent personal growth. The best way to learn is to first become conscious of your own feelings. Recognize your own flaws and the flaws of others. Then try to establish trust with your employees. People should be able to be themselves in a safe environment where they can test their own hypotheses and learn from their mistakes. Create norms for engagement and discipline. Then make sure to stand back and enable employees to carry out their responsibilities as they see appropriate. A good leader values the opinions of his or her team members and gives them freedom to ask questions, accept responsibility for tasks, execute them in a manner that makes sense to them, and come up with a more efficient and effective ways to reaching the same goal. Great teamwork results from team members that are accepting of responsibility and willing to ask questions, and the leaders who listen and value their opinions without judgment. According to a Gallup study, the majority of managers do not have the aptitude to manage people. It's possible even that the best intentioned managers go too far in an effort to manage towards the goals. Managers give employees the impression they are always being evaluated, but they do not provide them with adequate assistance to achieve success. Unfortunately, according to most normal management guidelines, bosses dictate what the team should do or just complete the task for them. However, leaders point them in the right direction, provide coaching, and then let them work at it and find it out for themselves. It's vital for employees to have control over their own futures as it creates hope and builds trust in one's team. As leaders, we must offer encouragement and recognize progress when it occurs. Managers who spend all their time looking at the scorecard are providing little or no leadership to their team. Mentoring and coaching. Leaders surround themselves with the most skilled individuals possible. The most effective leaders make a commitment to serving as a mentor and teacher to the next generation of leaders. Having team members that are more talented than you is beneficial to your survival, growth, and progress as a whole. After all, you can't advance to another leadership role until you've successfully developed a substitute in your absence. This is not a threat to your existence unless you're a boss and not a leader. When coaching teams to become better leaders, I observe that leaders do not effectively manage the time for their subordinates. We all have 1,440 minutes daily. It's totally up to you to decide how to use these minutes. Helping followers flourish requires a significant amount of effort. You can spend your time mentoring and assisting them. This is the most rewarding way of spending your time. It is a genuine expression of respect. Leaders inspire and drive others to follow in their footsteps. This is a natural element of the development cycle. Simplicity. Known as the KISS principle, which stands for Keep It Simple, Stupid, this design concept was initially implemented by the United States Navy in the 1960s. According to the KISS concept, it is recommended that systems be maintained as simple as possible rather than convoluted. In design, simplicity should be the aim, and needless complication should be avoided at all costs. So the term stupid refers to the relationship between the way things fail and the sophistication with which they're made to be repaired. When applying this notion to business or civilian life, leaders need to set attainable goals and devise a plan that is easy to comprehend. Everyone needs to know the objectives. When each team member knows the objectives and the rationale for a given assignment, everyone benefits from the experience. If your staff is unable to comprehend what you are saying, it's because you didn't communicate effectively. Maintain a straightforward strategy. The more straightforward the strategy, the more likely it is that your team will put it into action, and the more probable it is that your team will achieve its objectives. Something simple to understand does not mean it is easy to do. A strategy should be believable, achievable, and understandable, but no promises should be made that it would be easy or simple to execute. It is at this point when motivation and inspiration are required. Conflict management and resolution skills. Conflicts will occur anytime and anywhere people get together. It gives a tremendous opportunity for those in positions of leadership. When there is disagreement, active listening and critical thinking talents can be utilized to cut through the noise and acquire a better grasp of the topic from a variety of different perspectives. To keep conflict from escalating, keep in mind that people involved are likely to be in a state of flight or fight. A direct approach to conflict results in a faster settlement, restores hope, stimulates learning, and promotes individual and organizational development. You want to allow for some creative tension as a leader, but when conflicts becomes unproductive, you must act. While the relevance of the reasons for disagreement vary, your relationship with coworkers and teammates must be functioning if you want a productive environment. To resolve conflict, consider meeting with your colleagues individually or in groups and clearly communicating your work-related outcomes and behavioral expectations. Treat employees with dignity and encourage them to work together to settle their disputes. After all, they are adults. Inform them that they will be held accountable if they fail to reach an amicable resolution to the dispute. If you are ambitious and enjoy reading, I suggest you read my favorite book on the topic of negotiating. Never Split the Difference: Negotiating as If Your Life Depends on It, by authors Voss and Raz. The authors think that negotiation should be thought of as mostly an emotional process, not a rational exchange like it was thought to be in the past. They say that negotiation is just part of being human. This led the FBI to come up with a unique and practical way to negotiate that was based on their own experience and psychology. Most of the methods written about are ways to find out about your partner's emotions, change them, or just take advantage of them. For example, you can try one of their techniques, mirroring. The goal of this technique is to try to get somebody to feel more comfortable. Another technique, labeling emotions, can also make your partner feel more secure and confident in themselves. Allowing people to say no and getting them to say, that's right, helps them understand each other on a deeper level. In a negotiation, the goal isn't just to show your emotions. You also need to move your partner in order for you both to get what you want out of it. Lead by example. Leaders lead by example. Leadership is based on trust, and the ability to expect consistency from your followers becomes easier when you maintain consistency in your own words and actions. Actions speak louder than words. Using the KISS principle from earlier in this module, leading by example is doing exactly what you say and nothing less. Excitement, inspiration, and trust are generated when leaders lead by example. Consistency creates reliability. The ability to expect consistency from your followers is easier to maintain when you yourself are consistent in your words and actions. Make use of your personal qualities and strengths to do the right thing at the right time for the right reason. And for whatever reason, if you can't keep your word, you must tell your followers that and why you can't keep your word. And this is not an alibi or a crutch to keep you from doing what you said you would do. Do not make promises you cannot keep. This will only erode your trust with the team and disembark any connections that you have previously made. If you want to be a leader, you have to connect with your supporters. One of the strongest connections is through compassion. Compassion is simply defined as a strong desire to be kind to other people. Contrast this feeling with indifference, and you will soon alienate your followers. If you are truly compassionate, you must see your followers as an extension of you and how it relates to your vision and purpose. Compassion is a conscious activity that is undertaken by a leader. The absence of compassion, or not demonstrating compassion, accentuates the disparities between management and leadership positions. Management that lacks compassion is devoid of the human element in business and treats people as if they are merely replaceable parts in your machine. In addition, it undermines teamwork, disengages followers, and portrays you as a cold, calculated, miserable boss. It is never too late to show kindness and compassion, especially in the workplace. Employees will be more engaged when their leaders are compassionate, since it reduces turnover and increases loyalty. Compassionate leaders are seen as strong, motivating, and more closely connected to their followers.
That is a lot of information. Thanks for covering it, Leo. Developing your interpersonal skills is vital to your development as a leader. Practicing these 8 skills will advance you from being a management monster to becoming a leadership ace. But before I let you go, let me list out those 8 skills one last time. They are communication, teamwork, team building, flexibility, mentoring, coaching others, simplicity, conflict resolution skills, and leading by example.
Looking for more leadership information? Read more about interpersonal skills in the book You Are Doing It Wrong: Stop Managing and Start Leading by Richard T. Levine, the founder and chief dignity officer at Dignity Leadership Consulting.